Have you ever noticed that behind every extremely luxurious object, there's always a question that nobody asks out loud? Why would anyone need that? The truth is, the world of super yachts isn't about needing, but about understanding how some people manage to access levels of freedom that most will never experience. And here's a counterintuitive statement. Often, those who have everything aren't seeking more wealth. They're seeking silence, control, and space to breathe away from the noise that life itself has created. If this kind of perspective helps you see the world from a different point of view, leave a like because it shows you enjoy different and profound content. The curious thing is that there's a certain hidden unease when we see a yacht worth hundreds of millions. Part of us thinks it's an exaggeration, another part feels a pang of fascination, and a third wonders what these people know, that we don't yet know. The question that almost no one dares to ask is, what really happens within this floating universe of power and exclusivity? And why have these giants of the sea become the preferred refuge for those who could already choose absolutely anything? By the way, if you enjoy understanding the world through lenses that nobody talks about, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next analyses. On this journey, you'll realize that these yachts don't just tell a story of luxury. They tell a story of the human mind when it knows no bounds. And that's where the surprise lies. Understanding what's behind these giants of the sea can reveal unexpected lessons about ambition, purpose, and even self-knowledge. So stick with me until the end, because the more you understand this universe, the more you realize it reveals more about ourselves than about the billionaires who command them. And of course, this is just the first layer of what we'll explore together. The fascination with luxury at sea. When someone observes a luxury yacht cutting across the blue horizon, you immediately understand why so many powerful people are captivated by this universe. There's something almost hypnotic about the combination of wealth, freedom, and silence that only the sea offers. Many billionaires, they say that on the deck of a super yacht, the weather seems to settle in a different way, as if each wave carries a bit of peace mixed with exclusivity. And this feeling isn't just about opulence. It's about experiencing a rare kind of autonomy, the kind that the modern world hardly allows anymore. Anyone who has felt the salty breeze on a lit deck knows that a kind of power begins there that you don't shout about. You just live it. There is also a kind of secret charm to the lifestyle that revolves around a superior few speak openly about it, but everyone knows that he represents the pinnacle of high standard. It's like owning a mobile piece of the world, capable of taking you to any destination with the comfort of a palace and the silence of a temple. Imagine someone who works their whole life, accumulates achievements, and realizes that the greatest of them is the possibility of turning off their phone and simply browsing the internet. That's the kind of unique experience that motivates these passionate people. Luxury at sea. It's almost as if the yacht were a living metaphor. What's the point of so much effort if there's no room to enjoy it? Furthermore, there's a hidden nostalgia in this fascination, as if each yacht subtly nods to the freedom of sailors of old, only now cloaked in sophistication and design that border on art. Many owners describe their yachts as extensions of themselves, floating expressions of their personality, like collectors talking about masterpieces. And honestly, it makes sense. Those who invest in a vessel of this caliber are looking for more than just art. Opulence seeks a refuge that tells its story. Perhaps that's why, the more one understands this world, the more one realizes that there is something even greater behind this search. Something that begins even before choosing the yacht model and continues behind the scenes of this universe of extravagance, silent. The beginning of the golden age of yachts. The so-called golden age of super yachts, it didn't spring up out of nowhere. It began when a few visionaries realized that the sea could be much more than just a backdrop. In the 1950s, European magnates and members of royalty, They began to transform simple boats into true symbols of command exclusivity. It was the moment when the wealth it ceased to be something kept in vaults and began to sail before the world. Each new yacht represented a silent message. I have arrived where few arrive, and I sail where almost no one treads. And that is how this universe began to gain the brilliance it has today. When the first billionaires realized they could customize their vessels, the race for luxury at sea it exploded. Some wanted movie theaters, others wanted helipads, and others simply wanted to prove they owned the most daring vessel of the time. The design and Tonneval engineering. They evolved rapidly because each new outrageous request demanded impossible solutions. Imagine the scene. A yacht builder listening to a client request a suspended swimming pool on the deck. It seems absurd, but this type of request became almost routine. And the bolder the ideas, the more intense this secret competition for ultimate extravagance became. This explosion of creativity opened up space for architects, artists, and engineers to begin seeing yachts not just as boats, but as stages for sophistication extreme. That's when the first truly monumental projects emerged, those that seemed challenging even for those already accustomed to it, high standard, and as these vessels were launched, the world watched with growing curiosity. After all, if this was only the beginning, what would come next would be even more impressive. A question that only began to be answered when the maritime stage welcomed its first true giants. The Eclipse, the Giant, by Roman Abramovich. When the eclipse it was revealed to the world, it seemed that the concept of superiate had been reinvented from top to bottom. Roman Abramovich didn't just want a luxury yacht, he wanted a floating fortress, something that blended opulent security and an almost cinematic touch of power. And it succeeded. At over 160 meters, the eclipse it has become a kind of celebrity of the seas, surrounded by mystery and curiosity. Many say that sailing on it is like entering a parallel universe where every detail whispers exclusivity. What's most intriguing about the Eclipse isn't just its gigantic size, but the technological secrets hidden within its corridors. To protect the owner's privacy, the yacht has an anti-paparazzi system that disables nearby cameras, an idea straight out of spy movies. Inside there are 2 swimming pools, 3 helipads, a private disco, and even a mini submarine, because at such a high level of extravagance, imagination is the only limit. It's the kind of vessel that redefines what we think about. Naval engineering and luxury at sea. Many experts say that the Eclipse represents the transition between traditional luxury and strategic luxury. The kind where privacy and self-esteem go hand in hand. Abramovich understood that owning a palace at sea was more than just comfort. It was about building an inviolable refuge in an increasingly noisy world. And although Eclipse dominated headlines for years, its influence remained quiet, shaping how new superiates they would be considered. An influence that would become even more visible when a new colossus decided to challenge the throne that seemed unshakable. Azam, the speed of wealth. When it emerged, the whole world realized that it was not dealing with a simple luxury yacht, but a masterpiece that defied all the rules of naval engineering, commissioned by the royal family of the United Arab Emirates. It wasn't created solely to impress with its size, although its 180 meters are already breathtaking. The goal was to prove that technology and speed can coexist at an almost unbelievable level. And that's exactly what he did, transforming the Azam into the ultimate symbol of sophistication in motion. The most surprising thing is that, despite its colossal size, the Azam can reach speeds exceeding 56 km/h, something simply unthinkable for a superiate to achieve this feat. Designers needed to create innovative solutions such as engines capable of generating more than 94,000 horsepower. Imagine a palace crossing the sea with the agility of a sports boat. That is the essence of the Azam. And it is precisely this mixture of wealth and technical complexity that makes it a landmark in the world of high-end yachts. Inside, the Azam exudes that classic style of Arab royalty, handcrafted interiors, gold details, handmade carpets, and spaces designed to convey quiet calm. Those who enter describe the feeling as visiting a palace that floats and breathes. But curiously, what truly captivates those who experience it is not just the opulence. It's not the intelligence of its design, but rather the cleverness of it. Every inch has been thought out to transform the journey into a unique experience. And this quest for the unattainable opened the way for the emergence of another giant that would once again change the history of the seas. Dubai, a kingdom on the water. The Dubai, it's one of those super yachts which seem to defy logic from the very first glance. Commissioned by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, it was not only made to sail, but to impress, and of course, to reaffirm the lifestyle of royalty of the Emirates. With its grand halls, curved staircases, and details that shine even in the shadows, Dubai has become a clear symbol of opulence and a futuristic vision. It's as if each space were saying, "Here, luxury isn't excess, it's identity." The interior of Dubai seems to have been designed for those who wish to experience days of silence and nights of partying in the same space. The yacht boasts enormous swimming pools, a full-service spa, a helipad, and even a special room for receiving dignitaries. Because at that level, exclusivity, it's almost an unwritten rule. The mosaic details, the handcrafted floors, and the design reinterpreted Arabic art transforms each corridor into a living work of art. Those who enter have the sensation of walking through a palace that has simply decided to float. But what truly sets Dubai apart is the way it unites extravagance and functionality. Despite its grandeur, every space was designed to provide absolute comfort, as if the yacht were a home suspended in calm waters. It represents not only the pinnacle of luxury at sea, but also the human desire to turn the impossible into routine. And this desire became even more evident when a project emerged that was so audacious it seemed to surpass everything that had already been attempted. Streets of Monaco, the yacht that became a city. The streets of Monaco, it is, without exaggeration, one of the most daring projects ever conceived in the universe of super yachts. It's not just a boat, it's literally a floating city. Inspired by Monaco's most famous landmarks, it recreates scenes like the Monte Carlo Casino and even small internal streets that simulate European charm. Here, opulence and extravagance. They become almost poetic because the yacht is not intended to be merely a symbol of wealth. He wants it to be a complete sensory experience. What's most fascinating is realizing that this yacht was born from a simple, yet very powerful desire of billionaires, having your own private world always within reach. While many want swimming pools, spas, or helipads, Streets of Monaco went further. It wanted to be a micro-Monaco, a whole, sailing the planet. Imagine walking through internal streets, finding shops, restaurants, and terraces that seem taken from postcards. It's living proof that, in the universe of high-standard imagination knows no bounds. This project attracted so much attention that it ended up influencing other designers to think in even more radical ways. The concept of unique experience, it was taken to the extreme, showing that a yacht can be more than just luxury. It can be a functional work of art. And although few have the courage, or fortune, to embark on something so grand, Streets of Monaco opened the doors to a new era of maximum customization, an era that became much more evident when super yachts began to acquire secret features, almost invisible to the common eye. The hidden journey of custom yachts. No world too superiates. There is a universe that almost no one sees, that of personalized projects, created in absolute secrecy. Many billionaires, they commission vessels that never appear on official lists, as if they were hidden treasures discreetly sailing between continents. These yachts are designed with a level of exclusivity so extreme that every detail is treated as confidential information, and it makes sense. When someone lives surrounded by attention, true luxury becomes that which no one else can access. These custom yachts often incorporate such unusual ideas that engineers have to reinvent concepts. Naval engineering to make them possible. Some owners request underwater rooms, others ask for defense systems worthy of action movies, and there are those who want themed environments that recreate personal memories. It's as if each vessel were an intimate chapter in the owner's life. And when that level of sophistication, when combined with imagination, creations emerge that are so impressive that, curiously, no one ever sees them. They only hear rumors. What's most interesting is realizing that, in these secret projects, luxury is transformed. It ceases to be displayed and becomes something felt, like a silent privilege reserved for very few. It's a kind of opulence. It doesn't show up in photos, but it deeply affects those who experience it. And it's at this point that extreme personalization begins to blend with another trend that has arrived to change everything: the growing desire for sustainable yachts, capable of combining extravagance and environmental responsibility. Sustainable luxury, the new frontier of green yachts. In recent years, a new wave has begun to transform the world of superyachts, sustainable luxury. The idea of combining opulence, environmental responsibility seemed contradictory, but it quickly became an irresistible trend among billionaires who wished to leave a more conscious legacy. Now, in addition to seeking exclusivity, and with that power, many are seeking vessels that utilize solar energy, hybrid systems, and recyclable materials. It's as if the sea has begun to teach a new lesson. Greatness can also be gentle. High-end shipyards have had to reinvent themselves. Today, it's common to find models equipped with integrated solar panels, design silent electric motors and technologies that drastically reduce environmental impact. Some yachts even have systems capable of purifying the water used on board, transforming the trip into a more comfortable experience, unique experience, and sustainable. It's as if naval engineering has embraced modernity without abandoning its roots. Sophistication, creating vessels that are as intelligent as they are luxurious. And what's most interesting is to see how this change reflects the behavior of the new tycoons who want to enjoy luxury without the uncomfortable feeling of excess. For many, this is the true future of luxury at sea yachts that preserve the ocean while delivering absolute comfort. But, interestingly, this new generation of vessels has also sparked another important reflection. After all, why do people who already have everything continue to seek more and more? This answer begins to emerge when we look at the psychology behind this floating fortune. The psychology behind floating fortune. When you see someone investing hundreds of millions in a superyacht, it's natural to think that it's just about wealth and extravagance. But, in reality, there is a deep psychology behind this choice. For many billionaires, the yacht represents more than luxury. It represents control, identity, and the feeling of owning a piece of the world where no one can interfere. It's as if, amidst modern chaos, the vessel becomes an emotional territory, a space where power doesn't need to be displayed, only lived. This search is also related to something that few people talk about: the desire to disconnect from the constant noise of life, luxury at sea. It offers a kind of silence that billions can't buy on land. It's a refuge that protects the mind, as if the gentle movement of the waves reorganizes thoughts and brings clarity. Some claim they make their best decisions on board, including gigantic business decisions. And it makes sense. Away from meetings and expectations, there's plenty of room to think deeply. But there's also an emotional component that rarely makes headlines. For many, the yacht symbolizes a return to the freedom of childhood. The feeling of exploring, discovering, and sailing without a destination awakens a human side that corporate money often buries. Perhaps that's why so many owners describe their yachts as chapters of their own soul. And this mixture of nostalgia, power, and desire for autonomy ends up opening doors to something even more interesting: the question of what the next chapter of this ever-evolving maritime universe will be like. The future of luxury at sea. Imagining the future of superyachts. It's like looking at the horizon and realizing that the limit has never been the sea. It has always been human creativity. The coming years promise vessels controlled by artificial intelligence, modular interiors, and autonomous navigation systems that will transform the luxury yacht in its own ecosystem. Shipyards are already working on projects that look like they've come straight out of science fiction movies, combining sophistication, speed, and sustainability at unprecedented levels. It's the kind of future that not only impresses, but redefines the concept of exclusivity. The trend is for yachts to become even more integrated into the lifestyle of their owners. Imagine glass walls that automatically adjust to sunlight, decks that expand like wings, and immersive environments capable of projecting any scene on the planet. Furthermore, the use of clean energy will take center stage, creating vessels that can navigate for miles without emitting a single sound. This balance between extreme technology and high standard promises to usher in a new era for those seeking not just luxury, but purpose. And perhaps the most fascinating thing is the emotional transformation that this future will bring. Luxury at sea. It will cease to be merely a status symbol and become an expression of identity. Almost as if each yacht were a private universe, shaped to reflect the soul of its captain. This profound personalization should pave the way for experiences so unique that they will forever change the relationship between man and the ocean. And when that change finally happens, it will be impossible not to look back and remember how it all began, back with the first giants who dominated the seas. Ultimately, exploring the world's most expensive yachts isn't just a luxury excursion. It's an invitation to reflect on how far human ambition can go when there are no apparent limits. Now, the real question is, what have you built that brings you closer to your own freedom? It doesn't have to be a super yacht, but it can be a decision, a habit, a project you've been putting off. Sometimes, what separates an ordinary person from an extraordinary one is simply starting. And perhaps the most important point is this: while some use the sea to escape the noise, you can use knowledge to escape stagnation. What is the next step you can take today to change your reality? What kind of life do you truly want to build, and what is still holding you back? Think about it carefully. Because understanding the world of these giants of the sea is interesting, but understanding your own world is transformative. If this video broadened your perspective, sparked some thought, or made you see luxury from a completely new angle, don't leave without taking action. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and become part of a community that thinks differently, questions more, and strives to grow every day. After all, knowledge is the only boat that always takes us further.